Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Brittany and Tony here again. And today in our how-to series, we are going to talk about everything Airbnb.
Yep.
We're going to talk about why we love Airbnb, give you great tips and tricks of ways you can get the best deal, finding really cool places, and everything, like I said, Airbnb. So here we go. So this video is for everyone who has used Airbnb before, people who are new to Airbnb. If you're looking into really cool trips but you don't know where to start, Airbnb is a great way to plan trips, find really cool places to stay, and have some really cool experiences. We do have a link in the comments and the description below. So if you like this video and want to check out Airbnb, definitely use that link. If you have any questions, feel free to message us or put questions in the comments, and we would love to hear from you guys. And we hope that you guys are able to watch this video, use some of these tips, and plan some really cool trips.
Yep.
Yep. So let's talk about why we love Airbnb. I think there's three main reasons that we have really loved the experiences that we've had on Airbnb. I would say for me, one of the biggest factors that I like about Airbnb is the convenience factor. You just go on there, you can see everything. There's no like hidden fees as long as you're looking in the right spot, which we'll talk about later. You can see reviews from people who have stayed there. You can look at the Airbnb on a map to see how close it is to shops and dining and the beach, if that's what you're looking for, the slopes if you're staying in the mountains. You can look at all the amenities and things that are offered through that specific place. So it just really makes it very easy. You don't have to talk to 6 different people and listen to promotions and this, that, and everything else. And I also like how Airbnb tracks everything. So the app actually and the company takes a lot of responsibility if you need to dispute something or if a stay isn't exactly what you thought. We've never really ran into that experience, but I do know from some other people that we've talked to and just the company itself, I know that they are more than willing to help people out in the event that something does arise.
Yeah, on that, our previous video, I think we talked about how our Airbnb in LA or
I think it was Beverly Hills.
Yeah, Beverly
LA
Hills.
area.
It got canceled the day we were heading to California.
Yeah.
So they gave us like a 10%. I think it was about 10% of the Airbnb in extra money. So they refunded the original Airbnb. They gave us 10% to help us book another one. It ended up helping out a little bit. So they do try, I guess. So that was awesome.
Yeah, and even though it was completely like not their fault at all, it wasn't the host's fault either. I mean, you can't really help that a pipe burst and ruined their entire home, but they still took the responsibility of it and gave us in addition to our money back, they gave us credit as well. So that was really good. So they are a really good company to deal with, and we highly suggest it. So I think that the next reason that we love it is the whole purpose of Airbnb is to give you an authentic experience, an experience that you can't really get at a hotel. So for us, when we travel, we want to be like where the normal regular people are. We're not super like touristy people. We want to go and like actually experience what's going on there. I think that our greatest example of that is when we were in the Dominican the second time that we went. The first time we went, we stayed on a resort, which was great. We loved the resort. There was nothing wrong with the resort, but you're not really in their culture, learning how they live and seeing how they live and experiencing all the things they experienced. And what we found in that is we were able to meet a lot of the locals, and they, you know, took us to local beaches and where like the family places are, where there's no resorts or hotels and all this stuff. So we were actually like really able to experience how they live their lives in the Dominican Republic. And Tony was able to eat a fish prepared for him that was just pulled straight out of the ocean and put onto the frying pan, which was really cool. So
it was red snapper. It was like, so on that real quick, the guy comes up to me and we're just sitting out at the beach, just got done snorkeling. He knew we were out there because they pay attention. You know, you come out there at like 8 o'clock. It's getting lunchtime, so he knows he's probably ready to eat some lunch. Comes up to me and he's asked me if I want to see the menu. I was like, yeah. So he runs back, comes back. I'm expecting, you know, like
a
paper menu. No, he comes out with a plank of wood with, I think it had 5 or 6 different fish on it.
And he was like, which one do you want?
One was red snapper, and I don't know what the other ones were, but he told me how much each one was because some of them were bigger than the other. So I chose the red snapper. It was like $20 or something, $15-20. So he told me he'd have it done in 15-20 minutes. Goes off, comes and gets me. We go back to their little building, and they have like I don't know, they cooked it kind of in a fire. They have like I don't know if they had a kiln or something.
It's almost like a barrel, almost like that they
it's basically
cooked it
like,
over.
Yeah, it's basically like a kiln or something. And they're just back there. They cooked it, made some rice and beans, and it was the best fish I've ever eaten in my life. So
yeah,
it was great. I don't know what seasonings they put on it, but it was awesome.
Yeah, and so when we stayed on the resort the first time, we had everything in one area. You don't really leave the resort. You stay on the beach area. It's very non-authentic. They try to add like little flavors of wherever you are in there a little bit, but you're still on a concrete resort. So not saying anything bad about resorts. Like, it's great to go and relax and do that if you're into that. But the best thing about Airbnb is that you have a real authentic experience, and it's awesome, and we love it. Absolutely love it. Which brings us to our next love of Airbnb. We love meeting people, and also getting to, you know, make friends, and, you know, while you're wherever you are, having those like connections and everything is really, really cool.
The best example of that, I guess, would be, I would say, San Francisco. Yeah. So San Francisco, before we even arrived, I think for months, the Airbnb host was giving me tips, places to think about going.
Yeah.
And that's just her being a better host or a good host. Not all of them are going to be like that. Some are more hands off, but she wanted us to have a good experience. Yeah. So the whole time we were there, she was telling us where she likes to go, places. Even when we left San Francisco, she told us to stop at Dorn's, which we mentioned in the previous video. She told us about that. She told us about a few other places. I can't remember exactly, but I just remember Dorn's.
Even down to like where to park in San Francisco. Like, parking is a really big, like, not an issue. It's not really. We didn't really have any issues with it, but we were also there in a pandemic, so. But it's a big thing. Like, you have to know where you can and can't park, so you don't get towed, and like not to park behind people's like garage openings and like all of that we don't know because we live in Concord, North Carolina. So, but it's just really cool because you get to meet people, and, you know, we still talked to her even when we came home. And I know that if we ever have the chance to go back, I mean, even down to like go to the
the farmer's
market,
the
like
last
which
day.
tents to go to and everything like that. So like I know that if we're ever back in San Francisco, like we can reach out to her, and I know that she's going to be more than helpful to give us advice and everything like that. So that's why we love Airbnb.
Like I have her phone number, so.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
She knows.
Okay.
That,
Yeah. Oh.
So if we ever
now all the what is this, confession or something?
Yeah,
like
so
wow.
if we need anything, we don't need to have to go through
She's
Airbnb,
amazing.
and we've got a few other hosts where we have their numbers. So
So
nothing new.
All in all, we've had really great experiences with Airbnb, and we love it. So now let's talk about some tips. So book early. Let us tell you. So we've said this a million times with our trip to California, and really with every other trip, pretty much. We have booked early, and a lot of times you will get like 10% off, or some people do like 20% if you book like way in advance because they want to book their place out.
Yeah.
So
sometimes they'll actually like promote a discount or whatever.
Yeah. For booking early. So I would say 100% book early. If you know when you're going to go, so like me and Tony, pretty much the week that we travel is our big trip is normally the same time every year. So we always know that like that's when we're going to be traveling. So we always try to book really far in advance. There's not really any reason to wait, I don't think.
Unless if you're, hard on money, it can be a problem, but you always have the option to. I don't know how other sites are, but Airbnb you can put up. Usually it's half up front.
Yeah.
And then like the week or two before,
you pay the rest.
So you can kind of budget at least half of your trip,
which makes it easier for like planning and budgeting and all of that stuff. But also, we have found we've never had an issue with canceling. Like there's been a couple times where we've had to change dates or cancel or whatever. So we've never had an issue with canceling, and you normally can get like pretty much 100% of your money back. There's like a small Airbnb fee that if you cancel like after a certain time that you can't get back. But
it's really up to the host.
It's
not an Airbnb like
thing. It's like each host.
So some hosts it's like after 48 hours you can only get 50% of your money back. Some of them we've booked, you can get 100% of your money back up until like a week prior to your visit. So
yes. So also talking about price. Search by the date that you're going to stay, if possible. If you're not sure exactly of like when you're going to stay, but you're just looking and comparing prices, then try to put it in like the same month that you're going to be traveling. So like we always know that we travel on a big trip in August, so we always look in August. The reason being is, and this isn't too far off from like what hotels and other sites do, but if it's like a peak time of the year, it's probably going to be more expensive. If it's in an off season, it'll probably be a little bit less expensive. So always search by the date. Also make sure when you're on Airbnb that, because it'll give you a price like $90 per night, but always go through and make sure your dates are selected, and then go through to reserve, and then that's when it'll add in your total, like, because there will be a cleaning fee, an Airbnb fee, and then your taxes or whatever you have to pay. So just make sure you're looking at the full price of the Airbnb, so you don't think it's going to be cheaper than what it actually is. But normally it's not too bad. Like the taxes are normal, like you would pay for a hotel. The Airbnb fee is small. Some people waive that. And then like your cleaning fee. Right now in the pandemic, we have found that the cleaning fees are a little bit more expensive, but I'm okay with that as long as it's clean.
Yeah, we've seen some
people
like
are
over
ridiculous
$100 or something like that.
But
so that's another thing just to remember, if you're doing like not a road trip per se, but if you're doing a few places in or around a city, just remember, I mean, it's the same with hotels, but Airbnb, they're going to charge you. I think hotels usually do it by how long you stay, but Airbnbs usually it's just a flat fee no matter how long you stay.
Yeah. So if you stay one night, it's the same.
If you stay 4 different places, you're going to have 4 different $80 cleaning fees. So just keep that in mind.
Which is one thing that we ran into when we went to California. But like I said, it kind of weighed itself out because we booked in advance. A lot of places we got huge discounts. So it kind of worked itself out. So those are all kind of things to like think about price wise. Now we don't suggest solely looking at price. Now we're the Thrifty Martins and we want great deals. So also in that, think about amenities because, you know, like if you're staying in the mountains, some places have like hot tubs. So like if you want a hot tub, in the summer, some places have pools for you to have. When we stayed in LA, they gave us, or
Bikes,
Venice Beach, we had bikes that we could ride to the beach. So that saved us money in renting bikes or scooters or whatever. So always look at the amenities. So whenever you're weighing like value, definitely look at location. Location is super important. Can you walk to restaurants? Can you walk to the beach? Can you walk to wherever, you know, you're going? Is it ideal, or are you going to have to take an Uber or taxi, or are you going to have to rent a car if you're flying? So things like that are all things to think about, especially when you're looking through Airbnb, just because a lot of times you don't have like, hotels will have like shuttles or whatever. So like that's one thing that you'll have to think about is, you know, transportation and location and all of that stuff. So, which we've never really had an issue with, but it's really just depends on where you're going, where you're staying, how long you're going to be there, and how close your Airbnb is to everything. So also we would suggest to talk to your host. This is really important because like we said, you know, the woman that we had in California or in San Francisco, she was amazing and gave us so many tips like on different places to eat and everything. Also,
in the Dominican, she was actually, I guess she was a travel agent. We didn't use her as a travel agent, but she had she had a couple drivers basically that worked for her. So that's who we used. Instead of taxis, we just used them. And they were they were easier to work with because when we went to one of the private beaches, or not private, but the family beaches that were more of the local beaches, he hung out pretty much the whole time we were there, and we didn't have to worry about him being gone and not being able to get back to us or whatever. So
and they were like specifically working with us, so we didn't have to worry about like getting another taxi back, and a lot of times taxis are going to be more expensive than those anyway. But so like getting to know your host, if you tell them why you're coming, like so the week that we travel in August is over our wedding anniversary and my birthday. So normally if you tell people, hey, this is why we're traveling, they'll like put a bottle of wine in the room, or like chocolates, or like a little card or something, like, you know, stuff like that. Just a thoughtful like little gift, nothing crazy, but you know, it's little things like that make your experience great. So definitely talk to your hosts and get to know them, because a lot of them want you to have a really great experience. The last thing that we'll kind of talk about on Airbnb, reviews. So reviews are huge on both spectrums. So sometimes people will give an Airbnb a low star rating because one thing that I've seen is people will be mad that there's not snacks in the room. So I have a big pet peeve with that, because if you are complaining that there aren't enough snacks in the room and you give someone a 2-star who's been an amazing host and like lovely and welcomed you graciously into their home or whatever, I have a problem with that. So don't be that person. And so you kind of have to read into the reviews to make sure that they're not like dumb things like, oh, we didn't have snacks. Because that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It was ridiculous. So,
but if they do have snacks,
if snacks are the reason that you're traveling, I'm all for that. Like if you were traveling for the snacks, if you were flying all the way to wherever to get you some snacks, then go ahead. And if they don't have some snacks, you just go ahead and give them a bad review. But that's ridiculous. So you really have to like read the reviews. Now, if there's a review that it wasn't as advertised, or like it wasn't clean, or whatever, or whatever, then don't book with them. Because if it's not clean and you're paying $100 for a cleaning fee, then, you know, you obviously don't want that. But if people are writing like they don't have snacks, that's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
reviews are really important, but it's also really important to research the review and like look at what they're actually saying, because some people are just ridiculous and you can't really like make everybody happy.
Yeah. So, and I also like, I haven't been on a lot of the other sites like VRBO or what's another one, HomeAway. We haven't been on there in years. I used to use them before Airbnb, but like Airbnb, you can kind of, it puts your itinerary together for you, sort of. You have all your different stays for that trip, and it
Yeah.
knows, you know, within a given time, and then you can kind of map it all out using Airbnb, and then we use other methods of putting our itinerary together, but at least you have the Airbnb
Yeah.
itinerary.
Yeah, and he just brought up another thought that I had. So a lot of times people think that with Airbnb, you're just going to be staying in someone's house, like in a room,
Okay.
like a random bedroom. It's not really like that. You can filter your search to be entire like apartments or your own separate space. So you don't have to have a shared space. We've never stayed in a shared space. Like it's always been very separate. And we haven't had any issues.
We've stayed in people's houses, but it's been like a separate part of the house. Like
Yeah, like
where we
completely
go
separated.
into almost like a basement maybe, or the one in LA was
Yeah.
and there we had to walk through their yard
Side gate.
and
Yeah.
stuff, but it wasn't in their house.
Right.
They could see us, but it wasn't weird.
They could see us in like coming and going.
Yeah,
They
like
couldn't,
we were
see
walking in
us.
their backyard, going up the
Yeah.
stairs, and
They
if
were
they were
super great.
outside, they would talk to us, but it wasn't weird. I mean,
And if you're interested in seeing the Airbnbs that we're talking about, go back and watch our California videos, because we stayed in some really, 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 really cool Airbnbs. So if you're going to California, you're going to be staying out there, please go look at those Airbnbs. We have all of the links in the descriptions. All of our hosts were amazing. And we had no issues. There was one Airbnb that we didn't mention in that series, because we don't want to badmouth people or like hurt people. We didn't mention them and we didn't film there. But that's the only issue we've ever had with Airbnb. And it wasn't
a big issue.
It wasn't a big issue. It was just not the cleanliness. The cleanest
Yeah, so
place in a pandemic. If it wasn't in the middle of a pandemic, it would be a little bit different, but
it wasn't that bad either way, I don't think.
I'm like,
There was some floss in the shower.
that's disgusting. It's a pandemic. Why is there floss in the shower? Well, I have so many questions. Why are you flossing your teeth in the shower, first of all? But I mean, to each his
people do
own.
that.
Anyway, so that's all we have for this video. We're really glad that you guys tuned in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know when we are posting videos. We're so thankful that you are here and watching our videos, and please stay tuned to our how-to series, because we are going to be talking all things traveling during the coronavirus, how to save money, how to budget for trips, all of those things. So we're just thankful that you guys are here. Don't forget to subscribe. Anything else?
That pretty much covers it.
All right, well, stay tuned for our next videos. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.